to go into it. All right. Good morning, Kelly. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, good, good. You were telling me that you just got back from golf, huh?
Yes, I just got back from golf. Yes.
Hey, I can see you've been very active. Now, Kelly, I wanted to ask you something. Of course, the inevitable question is going to be about the pandemic, right? And what effect that has had on you. You were saying you spent 2 months in
So,
Singapore. I was looking through your IG feed, and I saw that that at one point you hadn't seen your husband in like 6 months or so, and things like that. Was it? So
yeah, that
so
was
what
last
effect? Yeah. So what effect has the pandemic had on you, Kelly?
Actually a lot, especially for work. Um, Maybe first because last year I've actually just opened up my own office for Cover Me Not because I have my
Mm,
own bikini line
mm,
that I've established. So last year, thinking that the year is gonna be a great one,
mm,
and then the pandemic hit. So I've already rented the office. I've just hired a team, and then suddenly it was like a lockdown.
mm,
So we couldn't really do any business for
mm,
the first like few months. So that was very stressful for me, I must say. Um, and I was at a point where I'm like, what am I gonna do? I
mm,
was quite, I was a bit, I mean, maybe depressed or I was just like there was a lot of things going on my mind that year. But then I started to actually think positively.
yep.
So myself and the team, we started to do a fundraising
Mm,
to help out the community that was hit by the pandemic.
mm,
So from all the fundraising, and thankfully we raised around 125 million. And then we started to buy like medical equipments for the hospitals, like mask, and then like the that APD, that long
protective
yeah,
equipment thing.
the
Yeah.
equipments and stuff. So then we went around to hospitals and gave out that. And then also we bought some like food and all basic food, and we
Mm,
went to all around like Jakarta, uh, and then we just help out to give the food and stuff to all the people that was affected by
mm.
the pandemic.
Well,
So that was
that
how it was at that first, that the year that just
yeah.
started. That was what was happening. So then I kind of just put myself, okay, I'll just like not think about myself. A lot of other people are suffering much more than I do, so
Mm,
that's why I came up with the fundraising. And thankfully, at least, um, on top of my distressfulness of not being able to
mm,
run my business or sell anything at that moment, but at least we could go out and help out the people that are actually in serious need. So
mm,
that was one. And then secondly, of course, I have a few projects that I was supposed to do, like some shootings
mm-hmm.
that was also postponed and or canceled. And suddenly, like from being crazy busy, and then suddenly was just like there was nothing going on at that moment of
Mm.
time. So
Impressive.
that was also quite stressful for myself. And then
Mm,
on top of that, I also was separated with my husband because at the time I was from Singapore coming back, and
mm,
then I had to actually leave Singapore because I have so much work and thinking about my office and stuff. So that's why I also left. So I didn't even see my husband for about 6 months at that time. So that was quite, yeah,
it's been difficult, huh?
challenging. But even though I'm saying okay, then I also think positively again. I always try to do that, like whatever,
Mhm.
whatever
That's
sorrows
good.
or whatever,
That's
whatever
good.
thing that comes up in my life that is just like, you know, I just try to always think positively, and
Mm,
it actually kind of turned out well. It's like we're just saying, okay, we're just having this break of 6 months, but then when we got together again, it was like, oh, I miss you. It's nice.
Yeah.
So it's like
But
Debbie again, after 10 years of, a relationship, sometimes that 6-month break could be a good thing.
yeah, well, they say absence makes the heart grow fonder. Yeah, so the longer you're away from somebody, the more you start to what you might call it. You start to remember
Appreciate
the
or
appreciate.
yeah.
Well, when you're living with them day to day, sometimes yeah, it gets on your nerves, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
But
it does. Then
oh,
sometimes you don't appreciate. Sometimes you're like, oh my God, I have to see you again.
but
But
Kelly, one of the things that you said about that I thought was so great is I saw the photos on your Instagram of you going out to the communities, getting all the special care packages and everything, and I thought that was beautiful, giving them out to the different communities that everybody's been affected by the
yeah,
pandemic, but in different ways, right? And you know, and I think that that is a beautiful thing that you did that because it's in these times. I think I was just watching a documentary. You should watch it, Kelly. It's called Audrey, More Than an Icon, and it's about Audrey Hepburn, right? And about how she lived through World War II, and she had all these things. Her parents actually met in Indonesia in waktu itu masih koloni kan, but
yeah,
she went through starvation and things in World War II, but then later on, the greatest thing for her was giving back to other people, right? So in our own, you know, difficulty doing that kind of thing. You talked a little bit about your business, Kelly. So what's happened with that? And also tell me about this swimwear. I remember years ago when I interviewed you, you talked about doing swimwear, which was for more petite women, or doing lingerie for smaller figured women, which is kind of like a contrast with today's kind of emphasis on uh voluptuous
sexy,
popular
voluptuous.
culture,
Yeah,
right? But in
yeah,
kind of like yeah, anyway, we don't want to get into that aspect of it, but we could go on
yeah.
all day. But tell me about and it's probably not my place to talk about that, but you tell me about what the bikini line is doing.
Okay, so I mean, okay, okay. So since like last year, because of the pandemic, everything was a little bit slow. Than of course than I expected. But then after the halfway towards the year, I started to design a new collection, which is called Bineka, and it is a little bit different from all the other design that I did. This one's a little bit more colorful. It also has a little bit of batik in it as well, so a little bit of culture.
Mm,
And also I picked colors because I think in times like these, we kind of need colors in our lives. You see, so that's when this design kind of come up during this pandemic. And then not only that, from every sales that that anyone purchased, 50,000 rupiah will go to a community in Bali
oh, brilliant.
for the pandemic. Yeah, whoever's they've been affected by the pandemic as well. So I did a collaboration. It was really funny because I met them, the foundation, while I was in Bali at that time, and then it so happened that I was actually doing this collection, and it was actually for the pandemic itself. And so I did the collaboration. I just spoke with them. Would you like to do any collaboration with me? That whichever whatever sales that is, I'm going to give it to your community or your foundation, so you can also help out to like give food from whatever profit that I have, you know, for them.
Mm,
So that was what has been happening since last year, and then it's up until now. So I think I'm actually quite thankful because of that as well, that my sales kind of increased a little bit, so it went
mm,
pretty well, even though I was expecting much more of a bigger sale, but I can't really you know um, complain at that moment because I was actually still making profit, thinking that during the pandemic I would probably be out of business. So I was kind of happy with that. It started to run smoothly, and then on top of that, I can also give something back to the Crisis Kitchen Bali,
mm.
and then it kind of just went in a very smooth way at that time, you know. And then so it's like business like usual, even though like offline stores was like no sales, but I moved everything to e-commerce, to digital. So that's when it just started picking up, because I think everybody was just at home, they're probably bored, they just started shopping, and then they were shopping bikinis, and I'm like, wow, okay, I'm so thankful. So and it
Yeah.
just picked up until then. And then now this year there's a new year. I've just did another collaboration with another designer. We're gonna do like this new collection, something about the environment. So it's all gonna be about that, you know.
Mm.
And this should be launched sometimes this few months, I think.
Mm.
I'm still doing samples and stuff, and hopefully there'll be a positive review from
Okay.
people for this, So
Brilliant.
yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah.
Great.